Pistachios, the blood pressure and vision protector. Pistachios might be small, but they pack a nutritional punch that specifically targets two major concerns for people over 60: blood pressure and vision loss. The blood pressure benefits come from an almost perfect potassium to sodium ratio. Most Americans consume about 4,000 milligrams of sodium daily, but only 2,600 milligrams of potassium. This imbalance forces your kidneys to work overtime and contributes to hypertension. Pistachios help restore this balance naturally. But here's something interesting. Pistachios have what cardiologists call a built-in portion control system. The shells force you to eat slowly, giving your brain time to register fullness. Patients who switch from other nuts to in-shell pistachios automatically consume 20% fewer calories without feeling deprived. The vision protection comes from lutein and zeaxanthin, two carotenoids that act like internal sunglasses for your retina. These compounds can't be manufactured by your body. You must get them from food. People with the highest levels of these carotenoids in their retinas have up to 82% lower risk of developing advanced macular degeneration. I witnessed this benefit firsthand with my Aunt Patricia. At 70, she was beginning to show early signs of macular degeneration. Her ophthalmologist suggested nutritional interventions alongside medical treatment. Patricia added pistachios to her daily routine, and remarkably, her condition stabilized. At 73, she still drives at night, something her doctor initially said might not be possible. The practical benefits extend beyond nutrition. The act of shelling pistachios provides mild physical therapy for hands and fingers, helping maintain dexterity and fine motor skills. For seniors dealing with arthritis or hand stiffness, this gentle exercise can be therapeutic. Brazil nuts, the thyroid and nerve supporter. Brazil nuts are nature's selenium supplement, and selenium is like a master key that unlocks several crucial metabolic processes. One single Brazil nut contains about 137% of your daily selenium needs, more than most supplements, and in a form your body can actually use efficiently. The thyroid connection is particularly important as we age. Your thyroid gland needs selenium to convert the inactive hormone T4 into the active form T3. When this conversion slows down, which happens naturally with aging, you experience fatigue, weight gain, cold intolerance, and mental fog. Many people attribute these symptoms to just getting older, but they might actually be signs of selenium deficiency. I learned about this connection from my own experience. In my early 50s, I was dealing with unexplained fatigue and brain fog. My doctor ran comprehensive thyroid tests, and while my numbers were technically normal, they were on the low end. Instead of immediately prescribing medication, she suggested optimizing my selenium intake through food first. Adding one Brazil nut daily made a noticeable difference in my energy levels within 6 weeks. The selenium connection to mental health is gaining research attention. A 2017 study found that seniors with higher selenium levels scored significantly better on tests of executive function and had lower rates of depression. This makes sense when you understand selenium's role in producing glutathione, often called the body's master antioxidant. However, there's a crucial warning. More is definitely not better with Brazil nuts. Selenium toxicity is real and can cause hair loss, nail brittleness, fatigue, and even liver damage. The selenium content can vary wildly depending on where they're grown. Nuts from selenium-rich soils can contain 10 times more selenium than others. I tell my clients to think of Brazil nuts as a supplement, not a snack. I personally eat 2 Brazil nuts every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This gives me optimal selenium levels without risking toxicity. Some people even cut a single Brazil nut in half and eat just half every other day. Now comes the part that might surprise you. These 4 nuts are commonly considered healthy, but they can create serious problems for people over 60. Let me explain why, and more importantly, what you can do about it. Peanuts, the hidden inflammatory trigger. Here's the first shock. Peanuts aren't actually nuts at all. They're legumes, which means they grow underground and belong to the same family as beans and peas. This matters because underground crops are particularly susceptible to a dangerous mold called Aspergillus flavus. This mold produces aflatoxin, which the World Health Organization has classified as a Group 1 carcinogen, the same category as asbestos and tobacco. Even tiny amounts, consumed regularly over time, can damage liver cells and increase cancer risk. For people over 60 whose liver function naturally declines with age, this risk is amplified. The FDA allows peanut butter to contain up to 20 parts per billion of aflatoxin and still be considered safe. But safe for a healthy 30-year-old might not be safe for a 70-year-old with compromised liver function. The damage is cumulative. Small exposures over many years add up. But the problems don't stop there. Peanuts have an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of about 5,000 to 1. To put that in perspective, the ideal ratio for human health is somewhere between 1:1 and 4:1. This extreme imbalance creates a pro-inflammatory environment in your body, particularly problematic for seniors who are already dealing with age-related inflammation. Peanuts also contain lectins, proteins that can trigger inflammatory responses. As we age, our gut lining becomes more permeable, a condition sometimes called leaky gut, making us more susceptible to inflammatory reactions from lectins and other compounds. I saw this firsthand with Robert, a 64-year-old client who came to me with joint pain that his rheumatologist couldn't fully explain. His inflammation markers were elevated, but he didn't have classic rheumatoid arthritis. When we reviewed his diet, we discovered he was eating peanut butter toast every morning and a handful of peanuts as an afternoon snack. Within 8 weeks of eliminating peanuts completely, his joint pain decreased significantly and his inflammatory markers normalized. The blood clotting issue is another serious concern. Peanuts can interfere with vitamin K metabolism, which is crucial for proper blood clotting. This is particularly dangerous for the millions of seniors taking blood-thinning medications like warfarin. I've personally known 2 people who ended up hospitalized with uncontrolled bleeding because no one warned them about this interaction. What makes this even more troubling is that peanuts are hidden in countless processed foods, from granola bars to salad dressings to Asian cuisine. If you're on blood thinners, you need to become a detective about reading labels. If you absolutely love peanut flavor, treat peanuts like alcohol, an occasional indulgence, not a daily habit. And never eat peanuts that taste even slightly off or have any visible mold. What if I told you that the handful of nuts you've been eating every morning for the past decade might be slowly damaging your heart? That the healthy snack your nutritionist recommended could be increasing your risk of heart disease by nearly 50%? I'm talking to you directly. The health-conscious person over 55 who reads every label, follows the Mediterranean diet, and thought you were doing everything right. You've probably been told that nuts are heart-healthy superfoods, and while that's true for some nuts, it's dangerously false for others. 3 months ago, I received a concerning email from Margaret, a 67-year-old from Portland. She'd been eating what she called her heart-healthy trail mix every day for 5 years. Her recent blood work showed elevated inflammation markers, and her cardiologist was puzzled. When we looked at her daily routine, we discovered something shocking. One of the nuts in her mix was actually classified by the World Health Organization as a potential liver carcinogen. Here's what's really happening. The food industry has lumped all nuts together as healthy, but your body doesn't see it that way. After age 60, your metabolism changes dramatically. Your liver processes toxins differently. Your digestive system becomes more sensitive to inflammatory compounds, and certain nuts that might have been harmless in your 40s can become metabolic time bombs in your 60s. The pharmaceutical industry wants you to believe that declining health is inevitable with age. They profit from selling you medications to manage symptoms rather than addressing root causes. But what if I told you that many age-related health issues, the fatigue, brain fog, joint pain, and cardiovascular problems, aren't actually caused by aging itself, but by the accumulation of inflammatory compounds from foods we mistakenly think are healthy? I've spent the last 15 years working with seniors, And I've seen remarkable transformations happen simply by identifying and eliminating these hidden inflammatory triggers. The woman who reversed her prediabetes by giving up cashews. The man who eliminated his chronic joint pain by stopping his daily peanut butter habit. The couple who regained their energy and mental clarity by making one simple swap in their evening snack routine. Today, I'm going to share with you 8 specific nuts, 4 that can literally add years to your life, and 4 that could be silently sabotaging your health right now. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which nuts belong in your pantry and which ones need to go. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could be the missing piece of your health puzzle. Let's start with the good news. There are 4 nuts that act like medicine for the aging body. I call them the Golden 4, and here's why they deserve a permanent place in your daily routine. Almonds, your bone and heart guardian. When I turned 50, my mother pulled me aside and said something I'll never forget. Son, from now on, every food choice either builds you up or breaks you down. There's no neutral anymore. She was right, and almonds are the perfect example of a food that builds you up. Think of almonds as nature's calcium supplement with a Harvard education. While most people focus on the protein and healthy fats, the real magic happens with the mineral combination. Each quarter-cup serving delivers 97 milligrams of calcium. That's more bioavailable calcium than many dairy products. But here's the brilliant part. Almonds also contain magnesium, which acts like a GPS system for calcium, directing it into your bones instead of letting it wander around your bloodstream, causing arterial plaque. I learned this lesson personally when my 72-year-old neighbor, Frank, broke his hip last year. During his recovery, his physical therapist mentioned that Frank's bone density had actually improved over the previous 2 years. When we dug into his diet changes, the only significant addition was a daily handful of raw almonds he'd started eating after his wife read an article about osteoporosis prevention. The cardiovascular benefits are equally impressive. The monounsaturated fats in almonds work like a gentle broom, sweeping away LDL cholesterol before it can stick to artery walls. This isn't just theory. A 2018 study following 6,000 adults, over 65, found that those eating almonds daily had 23% lower rates of cardiovascular events compared to non-nut eaters. But here's what most people get wrong. They buy salted, flavored almonds thinking they're making a healthy choice. Those added salts and oils actually counteract the benefits. The skin of the almond contains powerful flavonoids that work synergistically with the vitamin E inside the nut. Many people peel their almonds thinking they're making them easier to digest, but they're actually throwing away some of the most beneficial compounds. For optimal benefits, stick to raw or dry roasted unsalted almonds. If you have trouble chewing them, try soaking them overnight. Soaked almonds are easier to digest and release their nutrients more readily. The timing matters too. Eat them as part of a meal rather than alone to help stabilize blood sugar levels throughout the day. Walnuts, the brain food that actually works. If almonds are medicine for your bones, walnuts are prescription-strength nutrition for your brain. There's a reason they're shaped like tiny brains. Nature has a sense of humor about these things. The star player here is ALA omega-3 fatty acid. Unlike the omega-3s from fish, plant-based ALA has a special affinity for brain tissue. It crosses the blood-brain barrier easily and gets to work immediately, reducing inflammation in neural pathways and supporting the myelin sheaths that protect your nerve fibers. My friend Dr. Sarah Chen, a neurologist at Johns Hopkins, shared a fascinating case with me last year. She had a 68-year-old patient showing early signs of cognitive decline. Instead of immediately prescribing medication, she suggested adding a small handful of walnuts to his daily routine, along with other lifestyle changes. 6 months later, his cognitive testing scores had not only stabilized, but actually improved. A UCLA study from 2020 followed 636 healthy seniors for 2 years, with half adding walnuts to their daily diet. The walnut group showed significant improvements in cognitive testing, particularly in memory and processing speed. What's remarkable is that these benefits appeared within just 8 weeks and continued to improve over the full study period. The sleep benefits are equally remarkable. Walnuts contain natural melatonin, not the synthetic version you find in supplements, but the exact same compound your pineal gland produces naturally. As we age, our natural melatonin production decreases, which is why so many seniors struggle with sleep. A small serving of walnuts an hour before bedtime can help restore your natural sleep cycle without the grogginess that comes with sleep medications. Another fascinating aspect of walnuts is their impact on gut health, which we now know is intimately connected to brain health. Walnuts act as a prebiotic, feeding beneficial bacteria in your digestive system. A healthy gut microbiome produces neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA, which directly impact mood, anxiety, and cognitive function. Storage is crucial. Walnuts are incredibly sensitive to light and heat due to their high omega-3 content. Rancid walnuts don't just taste bad, they can actually promote inflammation. Store them in an airtight container in your refrigerator, and if they taste even slightly bitter, throw them out immediately. Cashews, the blood sugar disruptor. Cashews seem innocent enough, but they're metabolic troublemakers for aging bodies. The problem starts with their carbohydrate content. Cashews contain about twice as many carbs as most tree nuts, with relatively little fiber to slow absorption. For people over 60, this creates a perfect storm. Age-related insulin resistance means your body already struggles to manage blood sugar spikes. Add cashews to the mix, especially as a between-meal snack, and you're looking at roller coaster blood sugar levels that can leave you feeling exhausted and craving more food. The choking risk is real and under-discussed. Cashews have a smooth, curved shape that makes them slippery when chewed. For seniors with reduced saliva production, a common side effect of many medications, or slower swallowing reflexes, cashews can become lodged in the throat. Emergency room data shows that nuts are the third most common choking hazard for adults over 65, and cashews are disproportionately represented. Many seniors develop swallowing difficulties, dysphagia, as they age, often due to neurological changes, medication side effects, or dental problems. Cashews, with their smooth shape and tendency to break into irregular pieces when chewed, can be particularly problematic for people with any degree of swallowing difficulty. But here's the issue that really concerns me: oxalates. Cashews are loaded with these compounds, which bind with calcium to form crystals. In people over 60, who often have decreased kidney function and may be on medications that affect mineral processing, high oxalate intake can contribute to kidney stone formation. My colleague, Dr. Martinez, a nephrologist, shared a case that stuck with me. A 69-year-old woman came to him with recurrent kidney stones. She was health-conscious, exercised regularly, and drank plenty of water. The mystery was solved when they discovered she'd been eating large amounts of cashews daily as part of a healthy aging diet plan. Reducing her cashew intake by 8% eliminated her stone recurrence. There's another cashew problem that's rarely discussed: their impact on zinc absorption. Cashews contain compounds called phytates that can bind to zinc and other minerals, making them less available to your body. For seniors who may already have marginal mineral status, this can contribute to deficiencies. Zinc deficiency in older adults can manifest as slow wound healing, decreased immune function, loss of taste or smell, and increased susceptibility to infections. If you're eating cashews regularly and experiencing any of these symptoms, it might be worth discussing zinc testing with your healthcare provider. The processing issue adds another layer of concern. Raw cashews contain urushiol, the same compound that makes poison ivy irritating. To remove this, cashews must be extensively processed with heat or chemicals, which can reduce their nutritional value and potentially leave residues. Macadamia nuts, the calorie bomb. Macadamia nuts are often marketed as luxury health food, but for people over 60, they're more like metabolic hand grenades. A single cup contains over 940 calories, nearly half the daily caloric needs for a sedentary senior woman. The problem isn't just the calories, it's how quickly they add up without satisfying hunger. Unlike fiber-rich nuts that help you feel full, Macadamias are so calorie-dense that you can easily consume a day's worth of excess calories before your brain registers satiety. This becomes particularly problematic after age 60, when metabolic rate naturally decreases by about 5% per decade. Your body simply can't process these concentrated calories the way it could when you were younger. The result? Rapid weight gain, particularly dangerous visceral fat around the organs. I worked with a couple, both in their late 60s, who couldn't understand why they were gaining weight despite eating healthy. They'd discovered macadamia nuts and were having them as a daily snack while watching the evening news. When we calculated their intake, they were consuming an extra 400 to 500 calories daily, enough to gain a pound every week and a half. The gallbladder issue is another serious concern for seniors. The extremely high fat content can trigger painful gallbladder contractions, especially in people with existing gallstones or gallbladder disease. For some seniors, a handful of macadamias can trigger a gallbladder attack that lands them in the emergency room. The dental risk is often overlooked but significant. Macadamias are among the hardest nuts, and seniors with dental work, bridges, or weakened teeth can suffer serious damage. I've heard from dentists about expensive dental emergencies caused by people biting down too hard on macadamias. Because macadamias are expensive, people often buy them in smaller quantities and may not store them properly, leading to rancidity. Rancid macadamias not only taste terrible, but can actually promote inflammation and oxidative stress in the body. Most importantly, macadamias represent what I call empty nutrition. Yes, they contain some beneficial fats, but they don't provide the targeted health benefits that other nuts offer. When you're managing a limited calorie budget, as most seniors should be, every calorie needs to count toward your health goals. Pine nuts, the medication interferer. Pine nuts might seem harmless, but they're particularly problematic for seniors who are typically taking multiple medications. The compounds in pine nuts can interfere with how your liver processes certain drugs, particularly statins, blood pressure medications, and antidepressants. The mechanism involves cytochrome P450 enzymes, the liver's drug processing system. Pine nuts can either speed up or slow down these enzymes, making medications less effective or causing dangerous side effects. For seniors who depend on precise medication management, this interaction can be life-threatening, but the most bizarre problem with pine nuts is something called pine mouth syndrome. Days after eating pine nuts, some people develop a persistent metallic or bitter taste that can last for weeks. This isn't just unpleasant. It can severely impact appetite and nutrition in seniors who are already at risk for unintentional weight loss. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, a geriatrician I know, told me about a 71-year-old patient who developed this syndrome so severely that he stopped eating almost entirely for 2 weeks. By the time they figured out the connection to pine nuts he'd consumed at a restaurant, he'd lost 12 pounds and was severely malnourished. The oxidation issue compounds these problems. Pine nuts are extremely susceptible to rancidity due to their high content of delicate omega-3 fatty acids. Rancid pine nuts don't just taste bad. They become pro-inflammatory and can actually damage cellular structures. There's also emerging research suggesting that regular pine nut consumption might accelerate macular degeneration, though the mechanism isn't fully understood. Given that age-related macular degeneration is already the leading cause of blindness in seniors, this potential risk makes pine nuts particularly problematic for this age group. The small size and smooth shape of pine nuts make them a choking hazard, especially for seniors with dry mouth due to medications or impaired ability to chew and swallow. Choking on seeds in the elderly can lead to airway obstruction, aspiration pneumonia, or esophageal injury. Let me bring this all together with a story that illustrates why this information matters so much. Last year, I spoke at a senior center in Phoenix. After my presentation, an 84-year-old woman named Dorothy approached me with tears in her eyes. For 3 years, she'd been struggling with fatigue, joint pain, and memory issues that her doctors couldn't fully explain. She was eating what she thought was a healthy diet, including a daily mix of cashews, peanuts, and pine nuts. 6 months after making the simple switch to almonds, walnuts, and pistachios and eliminating the problematic nuts, Dorothy felt like herself again. Her energy returned, her joint pain decreased dramatically, and her thinking became clearer. The transformation wasn't just physical, it was emotional and social too. She could participate in activities she'd given up, travel to visit grandchildren, and feel confident in her own body again. This is the power of making informed food choices. At 60, 70, or 80, you're not too old to feel vibrant and healthy. Your body is incredibly resilient and responds quickly to the right nutrition. But you need the right information to make those choices. The difference between the nuts that heal and the nuts that harm often comes down to understanding how your aging body processes different compounds. What worked for you at 40 might be working against you at 65. The inflammatory pathways that were easily managed by your younger immune system can become overwhelmed by the wrong foods consumed regularly over time. Here's your action plan. This week, clean out your pantry. Remove any peanuts, cashews, macadamia nuts, and pine nuts. Don't feel guilty about throwing them away or giving them to younger family members. Your health is worth more than the money you spent on them. Replace them with raw, unsalted almonds, walnuts, and pistachios, plus a small container of Brazil nuts for your Monday, Wednesday, Friday selenium boost. Start small, just 15 to 20 almonds or 8 to 10 walnut halves daily. Your body will tell you if you're on the right track through increased energy, better sleep, and improved overall well-being. But most importantly, remember that you have more control over how you age than you might think. Every choice you make, including the simple decision about which nuts to eat, is either supporting your vitality or undermining it. You deserve to feel your best at every age, and sometimes the path there is as simple as changing what's in your snack drawer. Your health is your most precious asset. You've worked hard your entire life to reach this point. Don't let poor food choices steal the golden years you've earned. Protect your health, nurture it, and make choices that honor the remarkable body that's carried you this far. The best years of your life might still be ahead of you, but only if you fuel them wisely. Start today. Start small, but start. Your future self will thank you for every good choice you make right now. If this video helped you, please share it with someone you care about. Together, we can help more people age with vitality, energy, and joy.